Today's video is going to be all about my top fragrance from 10 different fragrance brands. So if you want to find out more, then please keep on watching. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you're visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Hayley and I review fragrances. So as I mentioned in the intro, today's video is going to be all about my top fragrance from 10 different fragrance brands. Now this is a part 2 of this video. I've already filmed this concept once before, of course, with different brands, and now I am filming a part 2. I could do this video so many times because I have quite a few different brands in my collection. So if you do like this concept, please let me know. I guess without further ado, let's jump in to the first brand. First up is Micallef. Now, this was a really obvious choice for me. I have, I think, 10 different fragrances from Micallef in my collection, but Ylang in Gold is a clear winner from the 10. I absolutely adore this fragrance. I took it with me on my honeymoon, and it just reminds me of my honeymoon now. It is just the most perfect summery beachy scent. It's yellow florals, it's a little bit gourmand, it's vanillic, it's sweet, and it smells a little bit like a banana smoothie. There's no banana listed in here, but you do have fruity notes, and it reminds me of a banana pina colada, but you get this kind of coconut milk creamy vibe mixed with fruits, and then you get the beautiful sweet yellow florals. Think tropical vacation. There's vanilla in the base. It's just decadent and delicious. You do need to enjoy Ylang to enjoy this fragrance, but if you do like yellow florals and you have not tried Ylang in Gold, I think you should sample this one because it is such a beautiful fragrance and it was an easy pick as my first brand that I'm mentioning today. Next up is Memo Paris, and there were 2 fragrances that I was choosing between for my top from the brand, and I decided to go with Madurai. I also really love Inlay, but Madurai to me is pretty unique and it just has this special quality about it. It's really hard to explain what is so special about it, but there is something so intoxicating in here. In essence, this is a jasmine fragrance, but it's a sweet jasmine. But the thing that makes it unique is there's a turmeric note. Now, some people say they don't get that turmeric note. I definitely do, more so on the skin and in the dry down. It just adds this almost rich spice that's a little bit dry and a little bit earthy. And then there's this beautiful sweetness. It's such a gorgeous scent profile, really, really addictive, and I think it's definitely one of the best from Memo Paris. Now, Memo do have lots of fantastic fragrances. It depends what kind of scent profiles that you are drawn to, but if you do like white florals and you want something that's sweet and has a little unique touch to it, I would recommend sampling Madurai if you have not already. I have reviewed this one in more detail on my channel. This video isn't about detailed reviews, it's just to tell you what is my favorite fragrance from each brand that I'm mentioning today. So yeah, Madurai is my top pick from Memo Paris. Next up is Nishane. Now this was really difficult to pick a fragrance from because there are so many from the brand that I absolutely adore. Now, I have Nefs in my collection, which to me is a 10 out of 10 fragrance. It's a masterpiece. It's very expensive, but I didn't pick that as my favorite from the brand because I don't wear it as much. I don't resonate with it as much. And I feel like it's important to connect with a fragrance. So the reason why I have picked 100 Silent Ways as my top pick from the brand is firstly, it's my most worn from Nishane. And secondly, it's so easy to wear and a very likable scent profile. I adore this one. It was a tough call between this and Wulong Cha. Both I feel are fantastic and both I reach for quite a lot. But there is something about 100 Silent Ways that I just love. It's a very easy to wear, likable, sweet floral fragrance that's very attractive, and it also gets so many compliments. It's not why I've picked it, it's just because I wear this one the most, and this is the one that I would miss the most if all of my Nishane fragrance disappeared from my collection. So my top pick from Nishane is 100 Silent Ways. Next up is Thameen. Now, this is a brand that I resonate with quite a lot. There are a few fragrances from this brand that I really, really love. But Peregrina, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you will know my love for Peregrina. I just think this is one of the most beautiful fragrances in my entire collection. I will always love this one. It's probably in my top 5 fragrances in my entire collection. It's one of the closest fragrances that I have to a signature scent. I wear this one quite a lot. It is sweet rose and caramel. So addictive. I'm not going to touch on this too much because I talk about this so often that for those of you that watch my channel quite often, you are probably bored of hearing me talk about this one. But I do love Peregrina, which is why it features as my top fragrance from Thameen. Next up is Armani, and I've picked one from the Privé collection. Magenta Tanzanite is spectacular, exactly the type of scent profile that I love and adore. If you like your rich, spicy, aromatic coffee scents that are quite delicious, you will absolutely love this one. It's rich, it's spicy, you have that coffee note in here. It's almost a bit caramelized as well. It probably is more of an autumn winter scent, but wow, this one is spectacular. If you like fragrances similar to Minuit et Demi by Fragrance du Bois or Starlight by Xerjoff, you will probably absolutely adore Magenta Tanzanite. And I think the bottle is really pretty too. Now, the Armani Privé collection has some fantastic fragrances, and it really was hard for me to pick, but Magenta Tanzanite is the one that I resonate with the most, the one that just feels very me when I wear it, and it's well worth trying to sample if you like a rich, spicy coffee scent. So my top pick from Armani is Magenta Tanzanite. Next up is Amouage. Now, you probably will be expecting me to say maybe something more like Guidance or Crimson Rocks, Material, even Love Delight. But the fragrance that I love the most from Amouage is Sunshine. This really is sunshine in a bottle. I think this is such a beautiful fragrance. It is sweet, jammy and floral, but it has this tobacco in the background, which just gives it a little bit more of an oomph. So whilst it smells bright and sunny, it has that kind of complex dry down that we know and we love from Amouage. At least I know and love that from Amouage. It's got this jammy kind of apricot vibe about it. There's osmanthus in here. But in essence, it's just a really jammy, fruity, sunny, lively fragrance with that tobacco in the base. I need to talk about this one a little bit more on my channel. I've definitely reviewed it on my channel, but this is one that I reach for more in the spring and the summer. I'm sure many of you expect Guidance to be in this list, but for me, if you do watch my channel, you will know Guidance is a little bit of a love-hate for me. There are things about it that I really enjoy and there are things about it that I don't enjoy. So I just want to explain that now because Guidance is such a popular fragrance from Amouage. But don't sleep on Sunshine if you like your bright, sweet, jammy fragrances with a twist. So I am a big fan of Narciso Rodriguez. I have quite a few of the fragrances in my collection from this brand, but the one that I love the most, without a doubt, is Pure Musc. This is such an incredible musk fragrance. It beats out so many musk fragrances that are more expensive, in my opinion, at the very least. I've had this in my collection for the longest time. I used to wear this one quite a lot to work when I worked in a corporate job. So if I was going to a conference or going for a meeting in the office, I would wear this type of fragrance profile because it's inoffensive, yet you will still smell really good. It smells like a hug in a bottle to me. It has the very typical Narciso Rodriguez musk. You either love it or you hate it. Definitely fluffy and musky. Your skin but better. Really hard to describe, but it's also a little bit floral. I haven't worn this one for the longest time, but make no mistake, it's such a fantastic fragrance and definitely my favorite Narciso Rodriguez. Next up is Goldfield and Banks, and I have picked Silky Woods. I'm angling the bottle like this because it's incredibly reflective, and Silky Woods was such an easy choice for me. This is a rich, decadent, woody vanilla fragrance. Absolutely spectacular. One of my favorite vanilla fragrances in my entire collection. It's very sexy and head turning. It packs a little bit more of a punch than being a basic vanilla scent. They did bring out an extrait version of this, which is very similar, but it has this kind of earthy, mossy feel to it in the base, and it's a little bit more dense. Whereas this to me has this kind of powdered sugar vibe with the dense but light and smooth woods. Very vanillic, but with a twist, as I've mentioned. Definitely my favorite from Goldfield and Banks. I know many of you love this fragrance, and for that reason, it is my top choice from the brand. Not because it's your favorite, but because I absolutely love it. Next up is Tiziana Terenzi, and this to me is an underrated gem from the brand. I don't really hear many people talking about Libra. Definitely my favorite Tiziana Terenzi. This is a musky scent, but it's a floral musk. Has a slight animalic twist to it. Very, very likable. I would say it's a seductive musk, but there is this kind of Tiziana Terenzi DNA that shines through it as well. So you do get that kind of sweet fruitiness that's in some of the fragrances like Kirke or Cassiopeia, but this is more of a musky profile. And I don't typically like the really sweet, fruity musks from Tiziana Terenzi. They're a little bit too much for me, which is why Libra is perfect for me, because it has a slight touch of that fruity musk. But this one is softer, a little bit more fluffy, feminine, seductive. And if you've never tried Libra from Tiziana Terenzi, I definitely recommend getting a sample if you enjoy your musks. But it's musk with a twist, as I've already mentioned, because it is also sweet and it is fruity too. But it has this kind of sensual vibe about it. By the way, I know I'm not going into detail of any of these fragrances. If any of them stand out to you and you want more detailed reviews, please do let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to do that. This is just to let you know my favorite fragrance from each brand. And this underrated gem is definitely my favorite from Tiziana Terenzi. Next up, we have Kilian, and this was such a difficult choice for me. Well, it was difficult and it wasn't. There's 3 fragrances that I absolutely adore from Kilian, and I was deciding between this and Angel Share for my top spot. Now, I adore both of the fragrances, but the one that I wear the most and the one that's a little bit more of a signature scent for me is I Don't Need a Prince by My Side to Be a Princess. I wear this one so much. It's such a likable tea and marshmallow scent, which is floral. It's fluffy, it's a little bit vanillic, but that tea gives it an edge. I do speak about this one quite often. It's definitely such a fantastic fragrance from Kilian. It's a little bit more affordable than some of the other fragrances from Kilian. Don't get me wrong, it's still not affordable, but it's less than fragrances like Angel Share and Love Don't Be Shy. So if you want a marshmallow scent that's not juvenile and also that's not overly sweet, I would recommend checking out Princess. It still is sweet, but it's not overbearing in any way, and it's very, very likable, makes a great signature scent, and you will get compliments wearing this one too. So this is my favorite fragrance, or my top pick from Kilian. So those were my 10 top picks from each brand. Let me know if any of these surprised you, and also let me know what your top picks from these brands would be too. I'm super curious to hear. It's so interesting to hear why you would pick a certain fragrance from a brand, what it is about that fragrance that makes you resonate with it the most. But I hope you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned, sorry I didn't go into too much detail on each fragrance. Let me know if you do want more details on any of these, if you want me to review any of them in more detail. Wow, I just said detail so many times. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much and goodbye.